you could tell it's the summer. Stuff's going to start happening. There's too many people outside. We was at lunch around 1 o'clock. And why was it this many people outside on a regular Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the neighborhood? I mean, either everybody working overnight or they're not working at all.
Well, hey, man, you know, Brother Malcolm said, if I go into a strange, unfamiliar town, all I got to do is look at the women to notice where we at. So, you know,
you can decide how the town is based on the women in the town.
Right. I know how your community functions, but how your women function. So, you know, that's a piece of that, man. Hey, man, we're gonna try to close this one out. We want to end on a high note.
Yeah.
But before we even hit that note, man, let's just have a moment of silence, man, for all those that lost their lives in these senseless tragedies, man.
Including police officers.
Including police officers, man. Blessings, man. And as we move on, we want to, like I said, man, we want to end this out on a high note, because we know we're not just talking about problems. We want to talk about solutions, and basically, we all want to have strength to get through another day and be motivated and be vitalized. So, I want to pose a question for you guys, and I want y'all to answer it to the best of your ability. And you know, y'all can answer it in any order. So, as a child, I blank blank blank. I need you to answer that question and why.
As a child, I want. You said that. As a child, I want blank.
Right. As a child, I blank, and then I want you to explain why. In contrast to your adulthood right now.
Mm-hmm. As a child, I dreamt about possibility. Juxtaposition of that childlike dream is the fact that I grew up. And in my adolescent state, I saw things through the premise of idealism.
Yeah.
In my adult state, I see things through reality. Reality is I'm a 35-year-old master degree earning from Princeton University, bachelor's degree from Morehouse, husband and father. My wife has an earned master's degree. We live in a single-family home in the suburbs. I have an 8-month-old daughter who, on a positive note, just had her second tooth come in.
Hey.
Amen. Who fears the possibility in my reality
of all that being taken away,
that I could be shot dead, that I could not protect my wife, that I could not protect my daughter because of the color of my skin. My idealism has grown into reality. The reality is that the civil rights agenda of the 1960s brought us to the lunch counter. But the civil rights agenda of the 21st century asked the question, can our children even read the menu? And furthermore, can we even afford anything on the menu? And if we can afford anything on the menu, will it be robbed, lynched, and taken from us simply because we carried Skittles and iced tea like Trayvon Martin? Simply because we hung on the corner like Freddie Gray? Simply because we sold Lucy's and cigarettes like Eric Gardner in New York City? Simply because we sold CDs like our dear beloved brother in Louisiana? Or simply because we were driving with our girlfriend and stepdaughter who's 4 years old with a broken tail light like our dear brother in Minnesota, Brother Castile?
Right.
You can make all the excuses in the world as to why they were so quote-unquote aggressive, as to why you decided to see them as a threat, as to why you saw them as a target. The reality is, that goes beyond idealism, is that you grow up and you realize that as a black man in America, regardless of the education you have, the pedigree you've assumed, the place where you work, the degrees you may have, and the money that you may make, your skin color is still a threat to so many in this country.
Well, I follow that up, man. So we're going to try to end on a high note. So as a child, I thought everything was fun. I remember going to the supermarket and like I made fun out of that. You know what I mean? Like I was like had my imaginary like games in my head, and I was very creative as a kid, so I could make fun out of anything. You know. So as a child, I thought everything was fun. As an adult, stuff isn't that fun, you know. Stuff is a whole lot more serious. I have a whole lot more responsibilities. But I value my independence and doing the things I like to do. So I'm always gonna be a hard earner, a hard worker. But to tap back into that enjoyment of my childhood, I try to keep everything as fun as possible as I can. You know, I try to keep a smile on my face. I try to keep things lighthearted, and informative. You know what I mean, when I have to. So I think to spin back on my analysis of this question, I'm taking from my childhood, man, to kind of make this life a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'm taking back from the 8-year-old Brandon and the 7-year-old Brandon to learning how to deal with the 32-year-old Brandon. Mm-hmm. So that's how I'm looking at it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as a child, I was taught about my legacy. Mm-hmm. And my father and my mother always said, what is going to be your legacy in high school, college, and in life? What is your legacy? So right now, I am looking at my life through the lens of what are people going to remember me for, or remember what I'm doing and what my name represents. I remember my grandparents and my parents always saying, your name is one of the most important things you have. When somebody say your name, what type of reaction does your name elicit? And I'm proud of younger guys, like especially like my man Keon, who's happily married, raising a beautiful daughter. And I know, I don't have to be around Keon, that him and his wife are instilling the same idea in their kids about legacy. Because I even move different everywhere I go based off of my name and how I conduct myself. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the universe is really biased. I think it's too intense bias more to positivity. I don't think it's just neutral. I think it's a little bit biased, like 51% to positivity. So what my grandma always told us, my grandma told me before when she was dying in her bed, she was like, listen, man, y'all got every opportunity to do whatever you want in this country. Yeah. Take control of your life. Yeah. Take over. Because I couldn't do it. We sacrificed everything. My grandma said, I dropped out in 3rd grade. Your grandfather dropped out in 4th. He became sharecropper. Yep. South Carolina, in Georgia. Yep. And so now, I'm laying on this bitch. I know I'm not leaving this hospital. I know when I leave, I'm gone. But when you said do everything you can and dominate everything you get involved in and never complain. Because when you get on this bed, you're going to start thinking about stuff that you didn't do. And how was your life was. Are you happy? She was so happy with her life based off of us. So you already know how we talk. Like if we don't complain, we just go out and try to dominate. If I go win an election, I lose, I don't care. My grandma couldn't do it. So I do something else. Open up another business. Yeah. Just go out and win and treat everybody well and make sure your legacy is amazing. So, and one thing I was happy about what I saw yesterday when I saw Spike Lee on CNN is the sheer amount of people who came together in Atlanta, New York, Philly, Chicago, LA, Detroit, and they were marching. And I was looking at this screen in DC, and There was so many white people up there with these fists in the air. Hispanics, Asians, you know, I don't even think they're going to even show that again. Indians. I was like, look at all these people. There's thousands of people out here. And it's not just black, because those two videos touch the human spirit. It's like, oof. Because when you watch it, you felt some type of way, like, oof.
Right.
This is dangerous right here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was very happy that I saw people come together, because that's what we need. It can't be just African Americans. And as you know history, the boy Martin became a threat when what? When he left that alone and started saying, people. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, this dude's talking about people now. Now he got to go.
Right.
Malcolm was open to talking to him and working with him. He got to go.
Not again. Not again.
Everybody like that and start and coming together as humanity and helping people and being that positive light. I think, hey, that's how you change stuff. And I think it's working, you know, because you can't have light without dark. So we're going through our dark moments right now, but you want to have light because it's just the natural order of the universe. So you got to use this situation as a positive and continue doing things like Brandon, you said you're going to work with the kids. Keon doing his thing every day, not just on Sunday, but he in the community every day, helping people out and giving a good sermon on Sunday. So we're constantly doing so much. You know, I'm teaching. So that's a part of the movement, you know, and just trying to move humanity forward. That's what I'm here for. I ain't trying to change the world, but I'm trying to affect everybody
around you. Yeah.
I listen to him. One last thing. I laughed at Chad Johnson. Chad Johnson was on TV, and he was in the drive-thru, and he told the lady, all right, I love you, and you got to tell me you love me back before I give you this money. And she was like, what? He was like, listen, ma'am, I may never, ever see you again in my life. The last thing you're going to remember is me saying I love you. Yeah. So that's the kind of legacy I want to leave with you, ma'am. And she laughed and said it back. And that's deep. I thought about it. The majority of people you run into, you might not ever see them again. Yeah. So one time in your lifetime, you're going to bump into this person and you had a little short conversation. What kind of impression you going to leave on these individuals? Hey, man, that's it.
Hey, man, I think this is our best episode we've ever done so far.
Yo, most definitely.
You know what I mean?
Keon got to come back.
Thanks for that.
We laid the gambler down, man.
Hey, I love you.
Hey, man,
I like that. Hey, we're gonna set up a pay stream at some point, man, so you guys can donate to the podcast. It takes us very little to run this thing, but hey, a dollar donation would be great. And, you know, it'll help us continue to run the podcast. And we just want to say thank you to all the listeners who was listening to us from day one. Keon was always repping us from day one. Keon's a part of this podcast, man. He's an offshoot of what we do because we all began together. You know what I mean? So, no, man, you know, we start out as freedom fighters. We're going to end as freedom fighters. And we're going to get it how we get it, man. On that note, we gone.